Hey everyone, I'm Renee Bennett. Consider me the girl next door, having conversations that will help challenge and shape your worldview in a culture that has turned our moral compass upside down and inside out. To chat with me further, come join me on social media, girlnextdoor.podcast. No topics are off limits. I'm really glad you're here. Now, on to today's episode. Hi guys, thank you to everyone for joining us again. I'm Renee, this is Girl Next Door. We just want to keep exposing what is going on, particularly at the border here in Queensland. You guys have been with us hearing stories all week, which has been amazing. Interestingly, I heard the police commissioner just recently talking on Channel 9 actually about all of this backlog of people being processed from back on September the 5th. And he actually said it would be unlawful to discriminate and that these applications were being processed in chronological order. But for those of us in the situation, we know that that is not true, that isn't the case. It's not chronological. There is a lot of discrimination going on. For example, obviously the NRL families. I know of people who have gotten jobs in the media and have applied and been approved within 24 hours. So it's not chronological. And it's certainly not, it does not seem very fair to those of us who are stuck in the situation. Now, for today's story, I want you all to cast your mind back, and for some of us, it might be longer than others, on when you first fell in love and what that was like and how you did not want to be separated from the person you loved. I know when I met Cameron and I went on a holiday for 2 weeks and I hated being separated. So today's story is about love. So I want to welcome Elysha. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. We've got much to talk about. So first, just let us know a bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
So I'm 23, currently living in Wangaratta, which is in rural Victoria. I was living in Melbourne for 4 years. So I was working as a baker for 4 years. And then I kind of moved here 2 months ago because I'm studying education support, so teacher aid. But yeah, I kind of moved here to study, kind of escape COVID in Melbourne. Yeah.
Oh, so were you locked down when you were rural, back in Wangaratta? Is that what you said?
Wangaratta, yeah.
I have never heard
So
of
we
that.
were, we had like some lockdowns on and off, but now we're not. So
Yeah, so you're not in Wangaratta, and that's where you are at the moment, which we will get into how you've ended up going from rural Victoria into Melbourne to study and then back again. So you found love. Tell us about your boyfriend.
So well, I'll tell you how we met. What?
Yeah, tell us that, because you've been together about, or you knew each other 3 years ago.
Yeah, so met 3 years ago, been together since May this year. But yeah, our story is pretty cool. So we met, so the first time we saw each other was at a show. So he plays guitar for an Australian artist. Yeah.
Nice.
And so my sister got me tickets for my birthday to go to this show. Yeah, and so I was standing kind of at the front, was looking at him all night because I was like, he's so cute. So then after the show, found him on Instagram, followed him. He followed me, which I was like fangirling. And I still do. But yeah, so and then we just, yeah, it kind of went from there. But I met him for the first time in Sydney, which was 3 years ago. But yeah, so he was living in Central Coast, New South Wales, and I was in Melbourne. And so we kind of stopped talking just because of distance, which is really ironic because now he's in Queensland. Haven't seen him in 3 months, and it's like, yeah, even worse than it would have been back then. But yeah, so we kind of liked each other for like 3 years, and then start of this year we were just like, let's do it, like let's do long distance. So yeah,
you kept in contact, like when you first met him until you actually started dating this year, you still kept in contact over that time? It was just that the distance was
just
like
friends over that time. Yeah.
So this is the Australian girls' love story. You saw him in a band.
I know, I love our story. It's like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's a great story. Are you able to tell us the Australian artist, or you're not, you don't wanna say that bit?
Vera Blue, you know
Who?
her? Vera Blue?
Oh, I don't know. Who's that? I know Guy Sebastian. We're friends with Guy.
A young girl singer. Yeah, young.
Okay, brilliant. So are you musical?
I'm not, no, not at all. No. He, like, does guitar, he's a songwriter, he basically does everything, he's really clever, but yeah, me, not at all.
That's right. When I met my husband, he had actually been drafted to the Brisbane Lions, which was back then
Oh,
Brisbane
really?
Bears. And I've grown up
Yeah.
like without a dad and just with my mum and sister. I literally couldn't even tell an umpire apart from a player. I kid you not. I was just like completely unsporty. But anyway, that's beside the point. So how long have you been separated now? So you saw him last in May?
Yeah, so the start of June. So I've seen him, so I saw him in March, saw him in May, saw him, yeah, the start of June, and then so the last time I saw him was the 4th of July, I think. He left Melbourne. So
So
and then
he left
we
Melbourne just in time. He left us before the
yeah,
border
so he
closures.
came down. Yeah, so he was down for a few days and then, yeah, he left and then he was planning to come back for his birthday, which was the 1st of August. So, but then the borders closed on the 17th of July. So, couldn't
So
do
when did
that.
you decide that you were going to move to Queensland to be with him?
So, we'd always kind of planned it like, so the plan was kind of for me to move back with my parents in Wangaratta, which is where I am now, to study, finish my studies, and then go up there. But yeah, so we kind of decided for me to go now. Oh, it was like maybe the start of September. We just kept waiting and we kept being like, we'll wait till next week. Maybe, they'll open up. We'll wait till next week. And then it just got to the point where it was like, well, it's now or we're going to wait another, till the end of the year.
Yeah.
So,
So did you apply for a border pass?
yeah, so I applied on the 8th. Well, I applied on the 8th and then I got an email on the 9th. And I was so excited. I was like, "Yay, like, I've got it so quick." But then it said 2 of your documents didn't upload.
Ugh.
And yeah, so I had to apply again. But I didn't realize the urgency of, applying a day later would mean I'm probably waiting 2 more weeks. Like,
And
yeah,
that's something people aren't aware of is that
yeah,
on the 5th of September was the first day that the applications opened up after a month-long pause. And
yeah,
so on the 5th of September, when it opened at 8 p.m., apparently about 5,000 people applied. And so
yeah,
they've taken 25 days to process a half an hour's worth on the 5th of September. So you're looking
yeah.
at the 8th. My daughter didn't apply to the 22nd. So we're like, we're
Um,
not going to see her for a long time. Um,
oh,
yeah. So one thing that you and I were talking about before we went to air was how you feel a little bit guilty that your story, is not as desperate as some people, that you're in a good space because, you're with your family, which is true. And my daughter's in a good place as well. But,
yeah,
I was talking about how you are a young person who lives in Australia who should be able to have the freedom to move around your own country. And for that
yeah,
to be taken away from you, and I understand everyone's stories are different, but that to me is just an equal story to be able to tell.
yeah, yeah. I know I did feel I was like, "Oh, there's people that don't have a house and there's people that are camping and paying 2 rents, one in New South Wales or Vic and one in Queensland." It's like, and I'm here living with my parents. Like, I'm okay, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm separated from him. So yeah,
Yeah. And everyone matters to someone, like
yeah,
I'm devastated I can't see my daughter, who, if you say, I want to move states, you should be able to get up and move states. So tell us about how your life's been put on pause. Like, did you, because obviously you were leasing in Victoria. So did you like get rid of everything and quit your job? And what did you do thinking, oh, I'm about to move?
yeah. So well, I didn't think I was going to move straight away, but yeah. So when I moved here, I moved back to Wangaratta so I could study and, not have to work full time. But yeah, since deciding that I'm going to move, like I sold all my furniture. um, Sold all my furniture. Like I haven't looked for a full-time job here. I'm working Saturdays just because like I don't know when I'm going to go and I can't really make plans because it's like when I get that call, I'll have to go in like a week, It's just like so uncertain of the timeline of, what I can do between now and when I leave. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because what people don't realize is once you get that call, which by the way can be any time of the day from a no caller
Yeah.
ID, apparently the call comes from the police. That's what everyone said. And you have to actually have your computer out ready with them on the phone to book your flight there and then, to decide where you're going to quarantine, which by the way could be anywhere. Apparently at the moment you can get into Queensland quicker if you go and quarantine in Cairns, but that could change. So I'm hearing very similar stories to yours where you can't actually move on with your life. Like you can't get a job because you don't know if you're going to be stuck there for 2 months, 3 months, 1 week. You just don't know.
Yeah, you can't really commit to anything because it's like you just have to wait to go. Yeah. But yeah, I've had my phone with me the whole time.
Yeah. I've told my daughter, I'm like, don't let your phone out of your hand. If you get a no caller ID, make sure you answer it straight away. So talk about you even thought about driving down, but people can't drive over the border. Do you have any information on that?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you would think that would be you'd think you'd be allowed to drive to your house and quarantine there, you know? Like if we were allowed to do that, the line would be going so much quicker. Like
yeah, I mean you're home quarantining right now, right? Like you're stuck in your house now. What would be the difference if we just home quarantined?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently, according to a few people I've talked to, you can't get your car over anyway. You have to put your car on a truck. You're not allowed to. Your cars are not allowed to come over for some reason.
Yeah, you have to pay to get your car on a truck. Yeah.
Which is another expense, by the way. I know that because we just did that for my daughter. She just got her car over there. That cost, I think, 600. To get it back is going to cost 800.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to leave my car here. And just when the time comes, when the border's open, I'll fly down and drive it. That's all I can really do. Yeah, I can't really afford that.
Yeah, totally. Well, on top of, you're going to have to hotel quarantine. Do you know how much that is for one person?
It is 3,220.
Oh, a little bit cheaper than I thought. I thought 4,000. But it's terrible expense.
Yeah, I think it's like 65 a day for food as well, like included in that, which is like when I was living by myself, I wouldn't even spend that much a week on groceries.
No, and it's not exactly really great food either.
Yeah, I've seen.
So tell me about you were talking to me when we were messaging each other about like your loss of motivation.
Yeah, I think that kind of comes with like I think I'm someone who needs to have a plan of like what I'm doing, and that kind of motivates me to, you know, kind of plan my life out into what I need to do each day to get, you know what I mean? Like
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
sorry, you go.
And like with not working as well, like that kind of like I feel like studying is so different to working in the, like studying you kind of have to do that yourself and have that motivation. Whereas like when you're going to work, which is what I was doing in Melbourne, like I would get up every day and go and then would come home, wouldn't have the motivation to study. But here, yeah, because I don't really have a date of when I'm leaving. It's just like, and also like not having something to be excited about. Like I feel like I'm just in a bit of limbo at the moment. But yeah.
How do you feel you've gone emotionally and mentally?
I mean, I'm really lucky because I have like my family here and my boyfriend, he's so good. Like he's so positive. And we are lucky because we have FaceTime and we can, talk every night. But like it's not same. But yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely better here than I was in Melbourne, just because I was living by myself. Um, but yeah, I haven't been too bad. And when I have been, like I've talked to him and he's really good. So he's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you spend some of the time alone in lockdown because you lived on your own?
Yeah. All
Yeah.
of it. All
Really?
of it. Yeah. Yeah.
How did you
'Cause
find?
oh, it was really hard. It was like I loved living by myself when we're allowed to go out and do stuff. But yeah, living by yourself and working full time is just like you're living to work basically. It's like you go to work, come home, you're by yourself. Like it's really hard. Which I felt guilty about that as well because I was like, I should be grateful I have a job. Like,
Mm.
you know, some people aren't working, but I also felt like, why am I working when I could be, in Wangaratta, um, not having to work and studying and doing what I really want to do. So yeah, that's kind of why I moved.
Yeah. Something that I haven't actually asked anyone yet,
Mhm.
but being a young person and seeing this pandemic that's just sweeping across the globe, like how does that make you feel as a young person for your future?
Yeah, so restricted. Like, yeah, as I said, like you just can't plan anything for your future. And like, yeah, same with work as well. Like, you never know well, like I'm lucky because I'm studying to, do a government job like teaching, but because that will always be around, but you don't know like what, you know, because everything's online and yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah, that's true. I'm actually a teacher by trade as well myself. Yeah, yeah. So, even as a teacher, I agree. I keep thinking, is everything just going to go online?
Yeah,
It's not the same when you have to teach kids online than it is face to face. And so I would hate for education to go down that path.
yeah,
It's
yeah, you just don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
So talk about we'll finish off with this because a few people have said this as well. This obsession with checking our Facebook page.
yeah. I think, yeah, I'm like always on like the pages, like the homeless outside of Queensland page, the home quarantine page, Queensland quarantine page. Yeah, it's I think I just check for hope. Like I'm just looking for the time to move along, like to see if they're getting through the applications, and that kind of gives you a little bit of hope. Like they've moved a minute. Yay.
Moved a minute,
Like
but
I'll check my voice, yeah, and be like, oh, they've gone from like 8:15 to 8:18. Yay. Even though I'm on the ninth, but yeah.
which takes all my hope away from my daughter, who's the 22nd. I think you just articulated it perfectly, Elysha. You said, I keep checking the Facebook page because I'm looking for hope.
Yeah, yeah,
That's really sad. But the people I was speaking to the other day, Crystal and Ivan, a married couple from Sydney, he said the
yeah,
same thing. He goes, I have an obsession every half an hour to see what's going on. And I'm
yeah,
doing the same thing. And then last night, my husband joined the page because we're looking for my daughter. And the reason is we're not getting information anywhere else. We're not getting information other than the rubbish information that's coming through on the Courier Mail or whatever other news report, which we look at it. Like today, there was another article that came up. You and I were talking about it before we recorded. There was an article that came up on the Courier Mail, if I can find it, I've got it right in front of me, basically saying that there's been a backlog because there's not enough room in the hotels and because of duplicate applications.
yeah. And because of the 2-week pause, which they would have known, all the applications they cancelled would be applying as soon as they open. Like,
Exactly.
obvious.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then exactly, like if they knew that thousands of people were going to apply, why are they saying, oh, and I know, and why do you think people have sent in 2, 3, and 4 applications?
yeah,
They're not hearing
yeah,
anything. They don't know anything. And
yeah,
so they're like, maybe I'll apply again, hoping that this time it will work. And as to the
yeah.
hotels being full, I live in Queensland. Do you know how many hotels we have here in Queensland?
Yeah.
Hey, Anna Palaszczuk, why don't you go and get another couple hotels? Like, there's no
True. Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
There's no one
Yeah.
coming from interstate, so we've got plenty of room.
Yeah.
Look,
Exactly.
we should be the premiers and the prime minister. We'd fix it in a heartbeat. Elysha, thank you so much for joining us today. You are a brave young person. I've had two young people, you and another girl called Ainsley, and both of you said the same thing to me, that, oh, but my story's not, tragic enough. But you girls matter. The young people of our nation matter. And I'm really appreciative that you would come and share your story. And my hope for you is that you would be able to be with your musical guitar playing boyfriend as soon as possible. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.